Every morning you wake up with a perfect neurochemical head start. Your brain is rebooted, your cortisol is peaking, and your battery is fully charged. And then you commit an act of ritual physiological sabotage. You genuinely believe you are practicing self-care, hitting the snooze button for just 5 more minutes, taking a rescuing hot shower, sipping coffee on an empty stomach, and scrolling through the news in the dim light of your bedroom. What a touching idyll! In reality, you are burning through your dopamine reserve, triggering insulin swings, and causing an endocrine short circuit before you even manage to zip up your pants. By noon, you are not burning out from work. You are breaking down from your own morning ignorance. Today, we dissect 33 habits with which you methodically neuter your energy and willpower for the entire day. Push aside your cold cappuccino. We are starting. Fact 1. Your favorite snooze button that grants you a pathetic 5 minutes is a legal chemical castration of your productivity. You genuinely believe you have bargained a little more sweet oblivion from a cruel world, like a cunning merchant at an Eastern bazaar. In reality, by sinking back into your pillow, you force your brain to launch a completely new, full-fledged sleep cycle that your physiology simply will not have time to complete. And when that plastic sadist on your nightstand starts squealing again, your nervous system is yanked out of a deep phase with the grace of a drunken lumberjack. This triggers brutal sleep inertia, a state of sticky, viscous fog in your head in which you are doomed to swim for up to 4 hours straight. Imagine trying to boot up a complex operating system, but you keep yanking the power cord out of the socket every minute. If Neo from the Matrix took the blue pill and then constantly asked Morpheus to let him sleep just a little longer, he would have ended up a drooling vegetable in a pod. Your bed celebrates an absolute victory. Fact 2. Morning coffee in the first minutes after waking up turns you into a biological bankrupt with massive debt. It seems a sip of hot espresso should awaken your dormant powers, but this is brazen manipulation by coffee corporations. In reality, right after you open your eyes, your body releases a peak dose of cortisol into your blood, our natural, inherent hormone of wild alertness. By pouring caffeine into yourself during this sacred moment, you harshly block the natural process, declaring to your adrenal glands that their services are no longer required. As a result, by lunchtime, when the stimulant wears off and your own cortisol is gone, you will feel such a plunge into the abyss of apathy, as if all your blood has been drained out. We muffle the natural Ferrari engine just to tape a cheap Chinese lawnmower motor to it. It is like trying to put out a burning house by pouring rocket fuel on it, hoping for a miracle. Congratulations, you have masterfully broken the system. Now good luck explaining this tactic to your nodding face at the meeting. Fact 3. Scrolling social media feeds under a warm blanket turns your brain into a cheap station mouse begging for scraps. You just opened your eyes, haven't taken a single useful breath yet, but you are already reaching for the screen for a dose of colorful pictures. At this moment, you receive a gigantic dose of cheap synthetic dopamine without the slightest effort on your part. The brain instantly concludes, why bother solving complex work tasks or building an empire if absolute pleasure can be achieved with a simple swipe of a finger across glass? Motivation is killed right at the start, trampled into dust before breakfast. It is akin to giving a dog a gold medal and a pound of meat just for condescending to blink. After such a luxurious advance, it will never catch a frisbee again. You start your day with a digital handout, signing off on your own insignificance in front of algorithms. The poor creators of the Terminator thought machines would take us by force, but we surrendered ourselves as prisoners for funny cat videos. Your intellect has officially left the chat. Fact 4. A boiling morning shower is a treacherous lullaby for your blood circulation disguised as a hygienic routine. We are convinced that hot streams of water will wash away nighttime fatigue and cleanse our karma before stepping into the harsh world. It sounds quite poetic, but physiology spits on this lyricism from a high bell tower. Hot water totally relaxes the muscles, and the inevitable sharp cooling of the body when leaving the steamy bathroom for the hallway is an ancient biological signal for bedtime. The body thinks the sun has set and it is time to hibernate in a safe cave. We are literally boiling ourselves alive. like naive lobsters in a restaurant, only to be surprised later by our jelly-like walk on the way to the office. It is an absolutely absurd ritual. It is as if we are pressing the brake pedal to the floor while trying to win a Formula One race. If you want to wake up, only ruthless cold or alternating flows that stimulate your nerves will save you. Otherwise, you might as well grab your cozy pajamas to take to work. Fact 5. A crispy croissant or chocolate cereal for breakfast is a sugary right hook straight to your defenseless pancreas. In commercials, happy families pour milk over sweet puffs, radiating unnatural joy, but the metabolic shock remains behind the scenes. These fast carbohydrates provoke an instant wild spike in blood sugar, followed by an equally panicked release of insulin. You will experience a false, euphoric sense of omnipotence for exactly 40 minutes, after which you will inevitably fall into the deepest, darkest pit of a carbohydrate hangover and apathy. We are tossing old newspapers into our body's furnace instead of proper firewood. It flares up brightly, but it is impossible to get warm, yet a mountain of ash remains. Medieval inquisitors would have envied such a sophisticated method of torturing your own concentration. We enrich bakeries by buying pastries that work like a one-way ticket to the nearest couch. Your stomach is currently giving a standing ovation to this culinary sabotage. Fact 6. Getting ready for work in the twilight of your apartment turns you into a walking zombie who has lost touch with reality. You protect your sleepy little eyes, not opening the thick curtains and navigating the room by touch so as not to scare away the remnants of coziness. The catch is that the sleep hormone melatonin is a stubborn chemical dictator that is destroyed exclusively under the harsh influence of bright light. As long as you wander in the dark, your brain is physiologically absolutely certain that it is still the dead of night outside, and you urgently need to find shelter. We play hide and seek with our own body, deceiving ancient circadian rhythms for the sake of an illusion of comfort. It is like trying to start a car in a tightly sealed garage, ignoring the fact that you will suffocate from the exhaust fumes of your own stupidity. Dracula from old movies at least hid from the sun to survive, while we do it to turn our workday into an endless torture of lethargy. So go ahead and bravely bump into the corners of your furniture. Fact 7. Skipping your morning glass of water turns your brain folds into shriveled dried fruits, incapable of conducting signals. You wake up, ignore your thirst, and immediately plunge into the abyss of chores, not even suspecting that overnight you lost about a liter of vital fluid through breathing and sweat. Our body literally dried out in our sleep like a dish sponge forgotten on the table. Science is ruthless. Dehydration by a pathetic 2% drops your concentration down a solid 20%. We demand genius decisions and creative breakthroughs from our brain, depriving it of the basic fuel for neural connections. It is like trying to run a modern supercomputer on the energy of a potato with 2 wires. Mad Max risked his life in the post-apocalyptic desert for a sip of water, and we are too lazy to walk 2 meters to the cooler in our own kitchen. Your parched nervous system sends you a fiery, dusty greeting. Fact 8. Fresh news with your morning scrambled eggs is a voluntary injection of panic straight into your bare brainstem. Your mind after sleep is clear, defenseless, and extremely receptive to any information, like a fresh sheet of paper. And then you forcefully plunge it into a vat of crime, economic crises, and geopolitical disasters. These bloody headlines instantly trigger an ancient animal fight-or-flight response in your body, exhausting the precious resources of your nervous system to process background stress that does not even exist in your room. We voluntarily invite maniacs and bankrupts into our dining room to help us digest our food. If Thanos decided to torture the Avengers, he would tie them to a chair and force them to read the morning news feed. You spend your daily limit of stress resistance on events you cannot even influence. Enjoy the aftertaste of disaster in your omelette. Fact 9. A morning without a single, even the tiniest stretch, turns your body into a shriveled, clumsy spacesuit. While we dream, our fascia, the thin connective tissues enveloping our muscles, literally glue themselves together from prolonged immobility. By ignoring simple stretching, we leave our bloodstream in a sluggish, stagnant state, which causes the brain to catastrophically lack the oxygen needed for a normal startup. You demand the grace of a leopard from your body, yet treat it like a rusty bicycle with an unlubricated chain forgotten in the attic. This is a brilliant strategy. Attempting to run a marathon with your shoelaces tied together and then acting genuinely surprised by a smashed face. Even a lazy domestic cat, upon waking up, first takes a long sweet stretch before walking to its bowl. Yet we consider ourselves the pinnacle of evolution while forgetting the basic physics of our own bodies. Your glued together back sends you its crunchy apologies. Fact 10. The agony of choosing an outfit in front of an open closet heartlessly burns through your precious managerial potential. It seems to us that picking the perfect tie or blouse is a creative process that sets the tone for the entire workday. A brazen illusion. Willpower and the ability to make decisions are strictly finite resources in our heads, like battery life in an old smartphone. By spending our morning highest quality energy on making trivial domestic decisions about what to wear and what to chew, we leave catastrophically few resources for truly important global matters. We drain our gold reserve of intellect on rags. Steve Jobs wore identical black turtlenecks for years for a reason. He saved his neural power to build a technological empire, while we stand in front of the mirror in our underwear, trying to solve an equation with 2 socks. Your inner CEO just resigned over a shirt collar. Fact 11. Training until your vision goes dark at dawn leaves your much-praised intellect crying on the treadmill. Fitness gurus sell us the image of a successful cyborg who is already lifting iron plates at the gym at 5 in the morning. But unless you are a professional athlete with a team of doctors, a morning strength workout to complete muscle failure will totally exhaust your central nervous system. After such heroic deeds, the body simply will not have enough electrical impulses left for complex intellectual work at the office. We turn ourselves into a beautiful, pumped-up, but absolutely useless pile of meat at our desk. It is like spending an entire blockbuster budget on special effects in the first 3 minutes of the movie, and then showing the audience a black screen for the remaining 2 hours. You won the battle with the barbell, but miserably lost the war for your own career and productivity. You can proudly place your bicep on the keyboard instead of your report. Well, do you already want to burn down your cozy little apartment along with your ringing phone and full closet of clothes? Hold off on reaching for the sedatives. We have only just begun to expose this theater of the absurd that you proudly call your life. Your nervous system is still holding up, so let's throw some firewood into this bonfire. Fact 12. Planning a grand day over morning tea is a dangerous illusion of vigorous but meaningless activity. You take a beautiful notebook, write down goals, set priorities, and feel like the lord of time. In reality, right now you are flushing your peak morning creative energy down the toilet on dull management. The plan must be made the night before, so that in the morning you can wake up and simply start acting aggressively, like a torpedo fired at a target. Instead, we work on the principle of a lazy builder who arrives at an empty lot and spends half the day drawing a sketch of a shovel in the sand. If military commanders planned a battle only on the morning before the attack, we would still be running around with wooden spears. Your beautiful planner is just a fancy grave for real deeds. Fact 13. Jumping sharply out of bed at the alarm turns your blood vessels into the snapped strings of a defective piano. You hear the ringing, get scared of being late, and instantly shift your body from horizontal to vertical, pretending to be a commando on a mission. This sudden jerk causes a massive outflow of blood from the brain, that very orthostatic hypertension, and organizes a brutal microstress for the entire vascular system. Your engine has not warmed up yet. The oil has not circulated through the parts. But you press the gas pedal to the floor, stripping the gears. We treat a highly complex biological machine worse than a cheap Chinese toaster. If astronauts launched into space with the same sharp G-force without preparation, they would return to Earth as minced meat. You launch into a new day with a mini stroke on minimum settings, proudly calling it punctuality. Your cardiovascular system is applauding you while it still can. Fact 14. The very first thought about the nasty weather outside forever programs your internal radar to search for garbage throughout the day. You barely open your eyes and you're already mentally complaining about the rain, lack of sleep, or the cold floor under your feet. With this harmless whining, you permanently tune the reticular formation of your brain, your attention filter, to look for negativity, problems, and irritants for the rest of the day. You literally give an order to your onboard computer. Scan the area for reasons to suffer. It is like turning on a metal detector in a dump of rusty nails and hoping to find a gold bar. We manually put on glasses smeared with mud, and then genuinely complain that the world around us is somewhat grey and unwelcoming. The grumpy dwarf from fairy tales at least got gold for his nasty character, while you only get wrinkles on your forehead. Excellent start, Captain Depression. Fact 15. Shallow, hasty chest breathing simulates an attack by an invisible saber-toothed tiger for your body. After waking up, being in a slight rush, people often breathe shallowly, barely lifting their collarbones, forgetting about the deep work of the diaphragm. For the reptilian part of our brain, such a rhythm of lung ventilation is a 100% flashing red signal of mortal danger and oxygen starvation. Instead of a smooth system startup, we force the body to operate in a mode of panicked suffocation. It is as if we cut off a diver's oxygen hose and demand they admire the beauty of the coral reef at the bottom. If yogis saw how convulsively we gulp air in the mornings, they would weep blood out of pity for our stupidity. A couple of deep belly breaths would be enough to calm the system, but we choose the mode of a gasping fish on dry land. Good luck making brilliant decisions in a state of quiet asphyxiation. Fact 16. A bare piece of toast with jam robs your energy fund and leaves your neurons starving by 10 in the morning. We have been brainwashed with the image of a light, airy European breakfast consisting entirely of carbohydrates. In reality, protein serves as the fundamental building blocks that break down slowly, gradually, and provide stable, reinforced concrete energy for many hours. By eating a crispy cracker without a drop of protein, you condemn yourself to a severe loss of focus and a treacherous rumbling in your stomach exactly an hour and a half later. We are building a brick house using cotton candy instead of cement, and then we throw up our hands when the walls collapse from the slightest gust of wind. This is a culinary pyramid scheme. You invest your morning calories into promises of satiety, but end up with empty pockets and a feeling of being scammed. You cannot trick your body with a pretty wrapper. It demands proper fuel. Bite into your jam and prepare to pass out. Fact 17. The background mumbling of the television or radio subjects your neurons to sophisticated informational torture right from dawn. You turn on the morning show simply for the noise, so it does not feel as lonely chewing oatmeal in an empty kitchen. But the catch is that the brain does not know how to turn off its hearing. It is forced to continuously process this entire garbage stream of strangers' voices, stupid commercials, and flat jokes in the background. You create a colossal sensory overload for yourself and burn up your working memory before you even cross the threshold of your office. This is equivalent to putting a chatty parrot with a megaphone on your shoulder and trying to read a complex philosophical book. We voluntarily lease our minds to laundry detergent manufacturers, allowing them to trample over our fresh thoughts with dirty boots. Orwell wrote about monitors spying on us, but we turned them up to full volume ourselves. Your silence has been sold at an auction for pennies. Fact 18. Replying to work emails with a full mouth ruthlessly paralyzes your digestive system. You consider yourself a multitasking guru, typing text with one hand and throwing a sausage into your mouth with the other. In reality, at this moment, the blood panics and drains away from your stomach, rushing toward your tense brain, and the process of normal digestion completely, deftly stops. As a result, you get neither high-quality energy from the swallowed food, nor adequate, thoughtful quality in the work tasks you are solving. We have turned eating into shoveling coal, on the go into a steam locomotive rushing full speed into an abyss. Julius Caesar could do several things at once, but even he did not think to combine state coups with digesting heavy meat. We mock physiology, trying to cheat time, but in return, we only get heartburn and typos in important documents. Your stomach is officially declaring a strike against you. Fact 19. A crumpled blanket and an unmade bed run like a background virus in your subconscious operating system. It seems to you that making the bed is for soldiers in a barracks or neurotics obsessed with sterile cleanliness. But the visual chaos in the bedroom is subconsciously and continuously perceived by our brain as a massive, glaringly unfinished task. This visual garbage increases the cognitive load on your psyche every time you walk past the bedroom, draining grains of your precious energy. We leave behind barricades of bedsheets, hoping they will disappear on their own, like texture glitches in a bad video game. If architects built houses the same way we organize our morning space, our cities would consist of unfinished, collapsing sheds. You spare 40 seconds on making the bed, but lose hours battling internal irritation. Your laziness has cost you too dearly. Fact 20. The metallic wail of a siren instead of a calm melody burns up your daily safety margin in a single second. You set a nuclear alarm sound to guarantee you pry your eyes open and do not sleep through your meeting with the boss. These aggressive, sharp sounds trigger an instant, animalistic surge of adrenaline into your bloodstream, forcing you to wake up in a state of pure distilled panic. You launch into a new day not as a rested person, but as a hunted beast running from predators across a minefield. We hire a virtual overseer with a whip who lashes us across the face every morning, and we call it an effective awakening. Soldiers on the front lines hide from such sounds in damp trenches, while we voluntarily place this horror generator right under our ear on a soft pillow. You have blown all your nervous fuses before even managing to put on your slippers. Fact 21. A prickly sweater or a tight shirt drains your life force drop by drop every second of your existence. You put on a stiff, uncomfortable piece of clothing for the sake of a beautiful silhouette or a strict dress code, deciding to endure a little in the name of style and corporate ethics. But this constant micro-discomfort, rubbing your neck or squeezing your waist, continuously sends pain signals to your brain, forcing it to process the irritation in the background. You turn your body into a sieve through which the precious energy reserve needed to generate ideas leaks out. We dress ourselves in modern tools of the Inquisition, disguising a Spanish boot as branded shoes. It is like trying to solve a highly complex mathematical equation while someone methodically pokes you in the back with a dull toothpick for 8 hours straight. You look stunning, but inside you, a countdown timer of waning patience is ticking. Being a fashion victim has yielded its fruit in the form of exhaustion. Fact 22. Opening work chats on a soft pillow turns your sacred bedroom into a toxic branch of the office hell. You just woke up and immediately reached to check messages from your boss, thinking you are demonstrating incredible engagement in the process. With this simple movement, you shatter the fragile psychological boundary between your recovery zone and your severe stress zone. Your bed forever ceases to be a safe haven and begins to be firmly associated with deadlines, conflicts, and panic attacks. With our own hands, we let a Trojan horse right into our fortress, allowing corporate monsters to trample all over our blanket. Imagine placing a buzzing factory machine right in the middle of your living room and sleeping on it, hugging its gears. Your psyche does not understand where rest ends and hard labor begins. Welcome to round-the-clock slavery with no right to amnesty. Are you still here? Amazing! It is surprising how you even managed to survive up to these lines with such a suicidal set of morning rituals. Your nervous system is definitely made of titanium, or you have simply learned to ignore common sense on a professional level. But do not relax. We have not yet reached the bottom of this rabbit hole. Fact 23. A breakfast that is too dense, heavy, and swimming in fat sends you into a deep food coma. We are told that breakfast should be fit for a king, and we obediently shove fried potatoes with bacon and liters of sauce into ourselves. To digest this greasy bomb, the body is forced to spend a colossal, simply unimaginable amount of energy cutting power to all other body systems, we turn our stomach into a blast furnace, demanding it melt down a chunk of cast iron in 10 minutes. Roman patricians gorged themselves like this at feasts before orgies. But you need to go and submit a quarterly report. Your body has arranged a siesta for itself right at your workplace. Crunch your bacon a little quieter. Fact 24. A panicked fear of cool water leaves your vagus nerve in a prolonged state of hibernation. You wash your face with warm water, afraid to wake up your pampered face with coolness as if you are made of soluble sugar. Yet even a split-second contact of the skin with ice-cold water powerfully stimulates the vagus nerve, which instantly switches on the parasympathetic nervous system and brings crystal clarity to your mind. By avoiding this tiny temperature stress, you make your intellect drag its feet for long hours, crawling around the apartment like a sleepy autumn fly on a window pane. We deprive ourselves of a free, natural reboot button, preferring to suffer from our own lethargy. If the ancient Spartans saw our morning bathroom routines, they would disgracefully kick us out of their city-state into the nearest swamp. You protect your face from the cold, but freeze your own brain. Warm water washes the remnants of your potential right down the drain. Fact 25. A forced blind adherence to the magic of the morning brutally violates your willpower. You read trendy books and force yourself to sit in a lotus position, meditate and mutter affirmations, even though you hate every second of this process with all your soul. By forcing yourself to perform someone else's unnatural happiness rituals, you totally drain your willpower reserve before you even have time to put on your outerwear. We purchase someone else's franchise of successful success, forcing a square peg into a round hole of our own individuality. It is like trying to make a gasoline car run on a strawberry smoothie just because a glossy magazine wrote about it. Productivity gurus have made millions of your gullibility, and all you have earned is a nervous tick under your right eye from overexertion. Your aura is currently cursing you in fluent Sanskrit. Fact 26. Starting your workday by sorting out trivial emails is a mental illusion of productivity of the highest order. You sit at your desk and joyfully sort spam, delete newsletters, and answer petty questions from colleagues, ticking boxes on your to-do list. This process gives you a false narcotic sense of accomplishment, but in reality, it sneakily devours your highest quality peak morning energy, which is critically needed for the main complex task of the day. We are firing heavy artillery at a swarm of mosquitoes, and when an actual armored train of problems appears on the horizon, we are already out of shells. This is the classic strategy of a procrastinator. Simulating intense activity by rearranging colored paper clips on a desk to avoid building a rocket. You bought a first-class ticket, but decided to sit in the cramped toilet for the entire flight. Congratulations on your grand victory over spam, great commander. Fact 27. A fanatical, total refusal of carbohydrates before heavy mental labor guarantees you impenetrable brain fog. Trendy diets have convinced us that any carbohydrate is pure evil, designed to destroy our perfect figures. But harsh biology states pure glucose is the only irreplaceable high-octane fuel for our neurons. If you have a highly complex project ahead, a carb-free breakfast consisting solely of eggs and greens will leave your brain without fuel, causing a severe lag in all thought processes. We are trying to win a chess tournament after draining our blood and replacing it with celery juice. This is a brilliant business model. First they infected us with the fear of sugar, and now we cannot string two words together at a meeting due to the starvation of our cerebral cortex. Your mighty intellect is stuck in a traffic jam with not a drop of fuel in the tank. Fact 28. Chewing mint gum on an empty stomach forces your own stomach to engage in self-destruction. You pop a piece of gum into your mouth to freshen your breath on the way to the subway, rhythmically moving your jaws to the beat of the music. This mechanical process brazenly deceives your entire digestive tract. Your body genuinely thinks food has arrived and starts producing aggressive gastric juice in vain, which then begins to corrode your empty stomach walls. wasting energy on fake digestion and causing cramps. We fire up a massive factory conveyor belt at full capacity just to run a piece of elastic peppermint-flavored plastic along it. Pavlov's dog at least received a real piece of meat for its reflexes, but we train ourselves to develop gastritis absolutely free of charge. This is a chemical sabotage against your own body for the sake of fresh exhaust coming from your mouth. Smile wider. Your ulcer is already taking a picture of you. Fact 29. Focusing exclusively on close objects in the morning cramps your nervous system into a tight knot. We wake up, look at our phone, then shift our gaze to our coffee cup, then bury our faces in our laptop monitor or car dashboard again. Continuously focusing our eyes on objects up close keeps our eye muscles, and as a result, our entire sympathetic nervous system in a state of continuous, convulsive tension. By not looking far out to the horizon, we physiologically prevent our eyes from relaxing and releasing the muscle spasm that builds up over long hours. We voluntarily lock ourselves in a visual box a meter wide, ignoring boundless spaces. It is like wearing binoculars backward over your eyes and wondering why you have a constant throbbing headache. Our ancestors scanned the horizon for mammoths, while we cannot see anything further than our own nose. Your eyes are begging for mercy as they stare into the pixelated abyss. Fact 30. A glass of freshly squeezed fruit juice for breakfast hits your liver with the force of a heavyweight in the ring. We blindly believe the commercials where beautiful people drink a sunny beverage, charging up with vitamins for the long day ahead. The harsh truth is that juice, stripped of its natural regulating fiber, acts on your body exactly like cheap chemical soda. It is a direct, unobstructed, concentrated strike of liquid sugar to the liver, causing an instant insulin shock and a subsequent brutal drop in energy. We take a healthy fruit, throw away its most valuable part, and drink the remaining sweet extract, considering it elite healthy eating. If nature wanted us to drink bare sugar, plastic bags of syrup would grow on trees. We have been fed a beautiful myth, for which we pay with metabolic failure. Drink your liquid lollipop and wait for the inevitable crash. Fact 31. Dark sunglasses on the way to the office physiologically revert your brain back to a state of deep night hibernation. You put on trendy aviators to look stylish in the spring sun or to hide the traces of severe sleep deprivation. But by wearing them early in the morning, you roughly block the bright sunlight that must hit your retina to anchor your circadian rhythm and give your brain the final chemical signal that the day has officially begun. We voluntarily put blinders on ourselves, turning a bright, invigorating morning into dull twilight for our endocrine system. The Terminator wore glasses because he had no hormones, but you wear them to guarantee breaking yours. This is a brilliant plan. Drink a bucket of stimulants for alertness and then trick your brain by simulating the onset of a polar night on your own face. Take that piece of plastic off your eyes if you do not want to sleep on your desk. Fact 32. The absence of a tiny morning micro-victory leaves you without your vital starting dopamine capital. You wake up, fuss around, abandon tasks halfway through, and run to work in a state of eternal nervous chaos. If you have not consciously completed a single, even the tiniest task from start to finish, be it a made bed, a drank glass of water, or a watered plant, your brain does not launch the basic chemical achievement reward cycle. You start the day with an empty tank of motivation. Having not received your rightful morning dose of dopamine, we deprive ourselves of a free psychological bonus, preferring the role of an eternal debtor to ourselves. It is like walking into a casino, refusing the free chips at the entrance and immediately sitting down to gamble your last savings. Super Mario got points for every brick he smashed, while you are smashing your life absolutely for free. Your brain refuses to work without an advance payment. Fact 33. Chewing over yesterday's failures over morning coffee floods your synapses with the chemical concrete of guilt. You haven't even had time to ruin anything today, but you have already recalled yesterday's unresolved conflict, a crooked contractor, or a stupid mistake in a report. This obsessive recollection of problems instantly triggers a deep sense of guilt, which on a chemical level brutally suppresses the production of dopamine, making you a lethargic, weak-willed, and depressed creature. We use our morning as a free time machine just to fly back into the past and get a juicy punch in the face there one more time. If masochists had their own world championship, our morning self-flagellation would take the gold every year by a huge margin. We drag yesterday's stinking garbage into today's clean day and genuinely wonder why it smells so bad around us. Leave yesterday's demons alone, they're already bored of torturing you. So we have dismantled this conveyor belt of daily degradation, which you so tenderly and reverently call your morning routine. We naively believe marketers give us strength to fighting windmills and with our own hands turn every morning into a branch of the sophisticated Inquisition. We overpay for the illusion of comfort, but receive physiological bankruptcy because the truth is always extremely cynical. Your coziness is just a beautiful, expensive packaging for your weakness. Stop feeding other people's wallets and pitying yourself because every wrong step you take is a real celebration for an industry that feeds on your fatigue. If you still have any strength left after this total intellectual beating, do the only right thing. Subscribe to this channel to stop being a blind kitten in a world of corporate traps. And finally, go down to the comments and write your own 34th fact about morning stupidity that I missed. Let's see what else you're capable of to destroy your potential.